They said this was Sony's big return, a refined, simplified flagship. But what if they misunderstood what people actually wanted? And what if Sony gave us something brilliant for the wrong audience? Because the Bravia 8 II isn't broken. It's just built for someone who doesn't scroll past the opening scene. This isn't a tech review. This is a quiet interrogation of a TV that everyone read too fast. The Sony Bravia 8 II is not a failure, but it's also not what the marketing says it is. It's not what some reviewers say it is either. It's something else. And that something is why this TV has confused more than just a few buyers, including you, probably. You've scanned the specs. You watched the top 10 reviews on YouTube. Maybe you stared a little too long at an in-store demo where everything looked a little too perfect. Still, you're unsure. The feedback feels conflicted, and the buzz? It's off. Some say it's a flagship killer. Some say it's a mid-tier bloated in Sony skin. So which one is it? Here's what no one's been telling you. This isn't the sequel it was supposed to be. Not in the way people expected anyway. From the outside, the Bravia 8 II looks like it was designed to challenge the best. To be the sleeker, simpler cousin of the A95L, but smarter, lighter, maybe even more cinematic. But instead of being a rebirth, it feels like a retreat. Not in performance or picture. That's not the issue. The problem is soul, focus, identity. Sony knew what they were doing when they released this panel. But did they know who they were making it for? Because the Bravia 8 II keeps whispering two things at once. I belong in a studio, end quote. And I'm made for your living room. And both can't be true all the time. Let's start here. Yes, it's a QD OLED. Yes, it technically uses the same panel DNA from Samsung Display, ironically, as the A95L. The black levels are deep enough to disappear. Highlights are sharp. Color is balanced, though not always punchy. The motion clarity, let's be honest, Sony still eats everyone alive here. There's a reason animation artists trust Sony signals in post-production. The movement feels natural, never overly filtered, less soap opera, more storybook, but the moment you move beyond accuracy and step into emotion, that's where the cracks come in. You'll notice it if you're the kind of person who watches without distractions. No phone, no conversation, just sound, shadows, and a picture you want to get lost in. In those scenes, the Bravia 8 II falters. Not because it fails, but because it chooses control instead of impact. You can almost feel the image shrink when it should expand. Like it's shy. Refined, yes, but maybe a little sterile. There's brightness, and then there's brilliance. This has some of the first, but not the second. Indoor daytime brightness, totally adequate, nothing more. It's the kind of panel that holds back, unless you draw it out. HDR scenes don't punch like an LGG series or the boyish flash of Hisense. Instead, they ease into the drama. Slowly, some will say that's intentional, that Sony's going for the filmic, the accurate. Maybe, probably, but the question is, do you like that? Because no TV review should tell you what to like. It should only help you figure out what kind of viewer you are. Ask yourself this: do you care more about feeling the picture as light and energy, or appreciating color depth like a color grader behind a studio panel? If it's the first, this might not be your TV. If it's the second, you'll quietly fall in love with it. The Bravia 8 II secretly wants to be your favorite, but it won't fight for your attention. It hopes you find it by accident. It's like a classic novel someone left on a table. The cover is unassuming, maybe a little washed out, but the pages, that's where the beauty lives. If you're patient, let's talk contrast. This TV doesn't scream brightness. Instead, it concentrates it, puts it where it matters. Window detail in late-night shots? Excellent. Candle scenes in dim spaces? Stable blacks? Light nuance? Low APL clarity in horror movies, the hardest test holds steady. Though yes, some banding exists in super dark midtones. You will notice it if you go looking. Most won't, but here's where it wins quietly. Subtlety. Where other TVs chase Hollywood's fireworks, the Bravia 8 II remembers that sunlight on skin is more powerful than glowing explosions, that the shimmer of a tear is harder to reproduce than just making stars pop in a sky, There's no gimmicky tone mapping here, no flex. Even tone gradation, that annoying rainbowing effect on smoky gradients, is reduced. Not killed, but softened. So ask again, do you want flash or do you want fidelity? That's the true riddle of the Bravia 8 II. It's misunderstood not because it's bad, but because it doesn't flatter casual viewers. You don't get a wow moment in the store aisle. You get the wow 10 hours in. On the third movie, at night, when the kids are asleep and the city is quiet and your phone isn't within reach, that's when this TV breathes. But not everyone waits around that long. That's where Sony got it wrong. They made a product that shines in long-term trust, then dropped it in a world wired for short-term dopamine. Still thinking this might be your next screen? Hold that thought, because there's more you really need to know, and it's not what they wrote in the ad copy. Let's peel this back a little deeper, because this isn't just about picture anymore. You're not just buying pixels and specs. You're buying a behavior, the way a device responds to your habits. And honestly, this is where things start to falter. The Bravia 8 II wants to be intuitive. It really does. But sometimes it feels like you're talking to someone too smart for small talk. Like, yes, it delivers. Yes, it listens, but not always gracefully. The Google TV interface is clean, familiar, reliable, but not fast. It hesitates sometimes, especially after system updates. Menus feel a little sluggish. Inputs carry a slight delay. You turn on the TV, you wait. You want HBO, you wait again. It's not broken, it's not crashing, but it's not flowing either. That's the strange thing with Sony smart TVs lately. They carry this legacy of greatness, wrapped in code they didn't fully write. So if you're coming from an LG C series or even a modern Roku TV, don't expect snappiness. You'll get used to it, but you'll notice it first. Audio, that's another world entirely. This is where Sony reminds everyone, yes, we still care about sound. As per the Honor 7, the Bravia 8 II is, quietly, one of the best sounding TVs out. No external bar, no hush money marketing, just real, spatial audio that feels like it's coming from the picture itself. Because it is. That whole acoustic surface trick, yep, still works. The screen is the speaker. Voices feel anchored, unspilled. Ambient sounds stick where they're supposed to. None of that channel bleed or drippy artificial reverb that plagues other thin profile panels. It's not bombastic sound, it's just correct. And correct often feels invisible until it's not there. Bass isn't deep, but it's shaped, rounded. It knows when to pull back. Music doesn't thump, it glides. News broadcasts don't hiss, they breathe. So, yes, if you're the kind of person who watches just using the TV's sound, you're not losing sleep here. And paired with Sony's newer soundbars or quad systems, it snaps into place beautifully. But if you run a full AVR setup, here comes the HDMI problem. Sony buried a headache inside this TV, and not everyone even knows it's there until it doesn't handshake with your setup. AV receivers may drop signals. Inputs might get lost. HDMI CEC can glitch when toggling sources or gaming consoles. It's rare, but real. Especially if you're using devices like soundbars, consoles, or multiple streaming boxes through a hub or ER key. There's a handshake error buried in how this TV communicates EDID info. Think of it like the TV handing out its resume to connected devices. Only sometimes, it hands out the long version, and some receivers just crash reading it. Is it fixable? Yes, for techies. You'll be doing power cycles, cable swaps, switching ports. A casual user might just assume their entire system is broken. And that's a shame, because Sony could have smoothed this out before launch. But it feels like they didn't test it in real homes. With real complexity, they tested it in clean labs. And that makes the experience feel incomplete. Now think about the sizing. No 77-inch version. That's not a bug, that's a decision. And a strange one, because the market is leaning harder into large panels. 77 is the sweet spot now, for serious home viewers, not showrooms. Sony says if you want a 77 QD OLED, get the A95L. But that box costs more. And it looks different, and it behaves differently. Not everyone wants that. This isn't about screen real estate, it's about choice. Removing that option just makes people feel like this product isn't truly for them, especially if their living space needs something between the mid-60 seconds and theater room wide. It creates friction, the very thing this TV is too graceful to handle well. And that's the contradiction. The Bravia 8.2 is balanced, elegant, full of polish, but it swims slowly through a market that wants speed, flexibility, options. It's doing classical ballet in a world built for jump cuts. Even when it's brilliant, it's not easy to recommend quickly, because you don't know who it's for yet. Is it for filmmakers? Maybe. For gamers? Not really. There's no VRR under 60 Hz, no Dolby Vision gaming at 120 Hz, and toggling game mode feels like stepping into a different TV altogether, one that pumps brightness too far and sometimes sacrifices natural tone for performance readings. Honestly, if your primary joy is found in fast-paced RPGs or Twitch shooters, skip this. There are better panels for play. This one is for watching.